want an app or a piece of software to be used like a toothbrush. It's got to be used a minimum of 2 times a day for it to be of a value add to a customer. And if you can say, yeah, we're using it at least twice a day, then you go, okay, we've got something here. What sometimes is a roadblock to you or a bump in the road to you is often an essential client touch point. You know, you can't remove everything. So we keep thinking we'll just remove all the humanity out of this. With marketing, and I have to say with finance and a lot of other things, they want to meet people. They want to talk to people. They want to know who it is that's working on their business and their project.
Welcome to the DevReady podcast. Joining me on the DevReady podcast today, I have Simon Dell. Simon, thanks for taking the time out of your morning.
My pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
For those of you that don't know how I do this or you're new to the episode, I don't actually know Simon. We haven't met before, so I'll let him introduce himself because I could never do the justice to that.
Thank you, mate. My name's Simon Dell. I'm the CEO of a company called Cemoh. That's spelled C-E-M-O-H, so cemoh.com. We are essentially a two-sided marketplace for senior marketing people. So we call them fractional CMOs, fractional marketing people. It's a bit of a wanky American word that's sort of seeping into the Australian dialect. But it's us connecting businesses that need marketing people with vetted marketing people all across Australia.
Okay. I think I just connected the dots on what the name stands for because I was going to ask, what is Cemoh? And then as soon as you said CMO, I'm like, oh, okay, yep, got it.
Yeah, it's the phonetic pronunciation of Chief Marketing Officer, CMO.
Yep. So, once you said it, I connected the dots myself. Yeah. What led you to starting the platform? Because that's always an interesting story.
Yeah, it actually is as well. Me and my business partner were kind of bumming around running a sort of little small digital agency, and I'd run agencies before. I'd met him through a friend. He's a software developer stroke CMO by trade. Very, very different people, me and him. And we met each other and we were just kind of doing some digital marketing stuff. I had a sort of a latent demand with people I knew. And this was February. Well, we'd been doing it for about a year or so, but February 2020, which as you would know was time. Ground zero for COVID. In Australia.
I think it was the middle of that February, I started working from home preemptively.
Yep. And so by the end of February, all shit had hit the fan and all that sort of. But so the middle of February, one of our clients had lost their marketing manager. She'd quit and had sort of, and literally just disappeared, like not given 4 weeks notice, just vanished. And not COVID related or anything else, but and so the client rings us up, and we'd known her for several years, and she's like, "Hey," she was a manufacturing. She made chocolate, and she said, "Look, I need someone to do to step in for a few weeks while I recruit a new marketing manager, and I need them to do our EDMs, post on social media for us." Update the website, all the sort of standard day-to-day stuff that you have doing that sort of business. Mm-hmm. And she said, "But I want someone to come in the office," and they're in Newstead here in Brisbane. And we had a girl who was sitting in the office who was about sort of 3 or 4 months pregnant, and she was like, "Hey, look, I've got a spare day. I'll go and do it." She was working for us a couple of days a week. So she went and did it, and the day after she'd been in to see the client rings us up and goes, "Rebecca's great. Can I keep her?" And I was like, "Well, she's pregnant. She's going to go on maternity leave soon. She doesn't really want to work full time." And the client was like, "No, just 1 day a week's fine. How much do you want me to pay for her?" Okay. And me and my business partner looked at each other and we were like, "I don't know." I mean, we'd run agencies, and agencies normally run, as you would probably know, $150 an hour and those kind of things. And we were like, this girl was there for 8 hours. There's no way that the client is going to pay $850 an hour. So we basically took Rebecca's wage. We worked out superannuation, insurance, and blah, 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 added 20% on and said, "Hey, are you happy with this?" And the client was like, "Yes, that's fine." And literally the light bulb went on at that moment. We were like, why are we doing agency stuff when there is a demand here for clients wanting someone to actually come into their office and be part of the team, but work in a fractional way so that they're not committed to this person long time. Essentially, they want a contractor that you would find on Upwork or freelance,
Yep.
but they want them coming in the office. And 6 months later, July 2020, we changed the business name to Cemoh. We'd registered the domain a couple of years previous, but we changed the name. And then we just gradually started shifting the business model to going, instead of us doing agency work, we
Yep.
would start hiring people out. And that's where it came out. It just purely because a single client's marketing manager left.
Yep.
And that gave us the idea. And when we sat down and went, who else is doing this in Australia? We were like, nobody.
No, just the recruitment company is actually trying to fulfill full roles, not fractional. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
There are contractors out there. Some of the recruiters do contract roles, but they're normally full-time contract roles. So
Yep.
6 months, 5 days a week. And that's generally not what we're looking at. We're going, a business is coming to us going, I need someone 2 days a month or one day a week or something like that. And
and
that's what we deliver them.
I'm sure the value proposition for them is they get someone who's embedded in the business more, rather than an agency who's all right. For the next 3 hours, I'm working on your project. The next 3 hours after that, I'm working on someone else's, because your time has to be divvied up like that.
Yeah. And that's what the clients like. They want someone to come in and understand their business, be part of their team. They don't need them there full time. They don't need the cost of that. Especially some of the senior people. They're like, I want senior advice, but I don't want to be paying senior wages. So you can have someone with 30, 40 years marketing experience in your industry working a day a week for you. So you get all the benefits of their experience and their knowledge and all that, but you don't have to, pay the full salary.
Yeah, and generally with a fractional, the benefit is you get the benefit of all the experience that the person has, but then you don't get the downside of them not being on the tools and
Yeah.
doing the work, because they're at a point in the career where they're not doing the marketing.
No.
Yeah,
No.
which is what you need as a business. So yeah, you get the best of both worlds. It
And
makes
where we
sense.
see it work really well is where perhaps a client has an small internal marketing team, a couple of juniors, a marketing manager and a marketing coordinator, something like that, but they have no senior leadership. So
Yep.
this person sort of slots in, they can advise the board or the leadership, they can advise and manage and upskill the juniors. So you get that benefit. And a lot of businesses see a lot of positives out of that. So
Yeah, because like you said, it's a big commitment to get someone very senior, full time, and not doing the work.
yeah,
So if you can split that up and then get the juniors to do it, get the direction and guidance, it's a win-win.
yep, absolutely.
I was gonna say that moment there where you had that person went on leave and you had a request to fill it in. That's probably one of those moments where they talk about in business where it's a bit of luck. Something just comes across, but you're perceptive to it. You found a solution and you made it work. So luck is is thrown out a lot, but it's not necessarily, it's not luck. It's you saw an opportunity and you figured out how to capitalize on it.
And when you look at those circumstances, Rebecca, who was in our office at the time, was only there a couple of days a week. And the interesting thing, she probably wouldn't have been there if she wasn't pregnant. So I look back and think perhaps I have her husband to thank for
It's good timing.
the business. Yeah, but it was, she was just lucky. She was pregnant. She didn't want a full-time job. She knew she was going to go in maternity leave. She was working through us as a contractor. She just wanted a couple of days a week. And if we hadn't had her in the office, I wouldn't have had anyone to send to the client, and we wouldn't have had a solution, and none of this would have happened. So yeah, it's, luck's that word thrown about a lot, and I believe, I believe there is an element of luck, but I believe you make your own luck as well.
Yes. Yeah, you had the opportunity presented to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So then where did the idea for building sort of like the marketplace concept come out of, and that journey of building that platform?
Look, that platform from 2000 to where we are in 2026 has evolved a lot. We kind of went into this because the interesting thing is that sort of fractional offering operates quite successfully in a lot of other industries. Lawyers are do fractional. They call it seconding and things like that. Fractional, there's a lot of big fractional CFO companies out there as well. We work very closely with the CFO Center. He's been on my podcast, and
Yeah, he's been on ours as well.
yeah. And so that idea of that fractional staff is well known. But we honestly didn't have any idea how to structure it. And I have to say, it's probably been 6 years now of, I'd say probably the first 4 years was a lot of trial and error. Originally we had these 3 tiers. You could have a junior, a middle one, or a top one, and they were fixed cost. So then we had to get the people at the other end to agree to work under those fixed costs. And so the margin fluctuated by each person that we were placing. And then if somebody left, we had to replace them, and it was all very clunky. And there's been various iterations where we've done it where it's just been hideously clunky. And as you would know from a software perspective and building platforms, what you want is a nice, smooth, flow through the whole sequence of events from start to finish. And I have to say, probably in the last year, we've got better and better and better at doing that. And we're gradually moving out these kind of little niggly bits. But the interesting thing is what sometimes is a roadblock to you or a bump in the road to you is often an essential client touch point. You can't remove everything. So we keep thinking we'll just remove all the humanity out of this, But with marketing and I have to say with finance and a lot of other things, they still want to meet people. They want to talk to people. They want to know who it is that's working on their business and their project. So it's evolved a lot in the last 6 years. And I think it's looking now, I think we're on the cusp of it being quite scalable.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And along that way, like that learning you had about having the fixed tiers, that was probably an assumption you had and thought, all right, this is how the business is going to operate, but you hadn't tested it or probably spoken to one side of the market and saying, yep, clients, or we want some transparency on pricing before we even start. But you hadn't spoken to the other side, I'm guessing, to get that. And that's probably where that friction came from.
Yeah. I mean, look, we can work with fractional CMOs who are quite happy being paid $800 a day, but down in Sydney, they want $1,500 a day. So, you kind of go, well, I can't offer a blanket price to the marketplace. And the other thing you've got to bear in account is that the marketplace can only take a certain price. And this is something I drum into my business partner all the time. I'm like, hey, look, we could charge $2,000 a day, but there's not many clients out there that can pay $2,000 a day. So we have to be sensible as to what the market can afford. And then, of course, we then have to go back to the contractor and say, well, look, if you want more jobs, drop your price.
Yep.
But at the same time, we want them to maintain their value. So there's quite this sort of balancing act between all sides of the marketplace where we want to say, there was this hideous management phrase, Anthony, when I used to work at Lion Nathan years and years ago, called the 3-way win. And it was like, anyone ever said it, you wanted it was so grating. But the principle is really good, is that if we're going to have a successful relationship, we've got to win. So it's got to be profitable for us. Yep. It's got to be financially worthwhile for the consultant, and the client has got to get a good result. And when that happens, it's so smooth, it's fantastic, it's great and profitable for us. The client's happy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So, but there's 1,000 things that can still go wrong and do still go wrong, and and we've had some of those.
Trying to be fair and provide value to everyone.
If you can trying to be fair, But at the same time, we understand we've got to make money. We're quite fortunate in the sense that we've never had any investors. We're entirely bootstrapped. I own half the company. My business partner owns the other half. It's profitable. It's growing. We're in a great position.
That's good.
But at the same time, if I had an investor who owned 20% of the business and put some money into it, maybe we could grow faster. Look, there's always challenges with these things, and as you get rid of one problem, another one
Yeah,
rears its head.
that's the like a whack-a-mole issue of being in a
It is
startup.
absolutely
You
whack-a-mole.
you
Yeah.
wear every hat, you do a bit of everything, and you don't get to decide which hat you're wearing at
No,
certain times. It just
no,
gets
no, no.
thrusted upon you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
did you face that the typical like chicken and egg problem with your marketplace having too many on one side and not enough on the other?
Absolutely. And that we did sit there for a while, go, well, we're not going to get the consultants if we don't get the clients, and we're not going to get the clients if we don't get the consultants. The very quick conclusion we made was we needed to get the consultants first. It was not a good experience for the clients coming in going, hey, I want someone, and we didn't have anybody. And we're actually now in a quite an enviable position. I've got 750 on the platform. So all Australian based. There's a handful in New Zealand. There's one or two in sort of, outside of Australia, but 97% of them would be in Australia. And when a good job comes in, we can get, we put an expression of interest out. We send that out to all of the 750 database. They submit why they think they want to be part of that job. And we might get anywhere from 10 to 12 applications up to about 20. The challenge now, as you would know, Anthony, is that all of the consultants want work. Now there's not enough work. So now we're tipping on the other side, where we've got to really ramp up our own marketing and our own presence in order for them to be confident of remaining on the platform.
Yep.
But then again,
now.
we don't charge them to be on the platform, so it's not like they're...
There's no cost. There's no,
no.
not at a loss.
No, it's not like they're sitting there going, hey, I'm spending $100 a month. What am I getting for this?
Yep.
And that's, I think, one of the purest messages that we have. And I sort of echo this with the clients. I go, we don't charge them to be on the platform. We don't charge the client to do a search. The only way we make money is if there is a contract in place and one person is working for the other person.
Yep.
And with that in mind, that means we have to make a good match. There's absolutely no benefit for us for putting a square peg in a round hole.
Yep.
We have to make sure that match is good. And if we do, then it's profitable for us. And I think a lot of clients then appreciate that. They're like, okay, yeah, that's good. You're not doing it because you've taken $99 a month off the consultants.
Yeah, you don't care what the result is.
No,
it's not a dating site where you've got the membership, but it does work in that way because you do want to make a connection that actually works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we've been involved in a pharmacy locum platform called Locumate.
Okay.
We've been working on that. So again, two-sided marketplace.
Yeah.
The difference on that one is the pharmacies say, I need a temporary locum, and then the locums just apply and take it.
Yeah.
So they just fill in the job, and then it's self-regulated through reviews. But it doesn't go out as an expression of interest. But there is, a tipping point where you have too much or on one side and not enough on the other, and then it goes back and forth depending on demand.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Christmas time, everyone has to be available and work because it's the busiest time. And then January, they're all on leave. So now it's a seller's market effectively.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Look, the other challenge we've got that we battle with every day, right, is that if the 750 people, I've got probably 200 that I would consider like grade A marketing people. Like these are people with supreme experience, knowledge, just they're people that I talk to. And I've been in marketing myself for 20 years. I was never in recruitment. So I was 20 years in marketing. But people I talk to and I go, I learn from just listening to them talk to me, right? So the problem is, if we're promoting us as a brand and the client comes into us and they're going, who have you got? We've got to show them these people, right?
Yep.
The problem is, it's like standing outside a supermarket and going, I want to buy something, but I don't know it's like us not letting people into the supermarket.
Yep.
But the problem is, the moment I let people into the supermarket, they go, hey, look, that's Anthony over there. Why don't I just contact him directly and cut the marketplace out of the middle?
Yeah.
So we've probably spent the last year, 18 months trying to solve that problem. Because realistically, our products are our people. But we can't advertise our people because the client will go to them directly and cut us out of the loop.
Yep.
So that's been the biggest challenge. I think we've solved it, but we'll see.
It's a ever evolving problem, that one. It's a
Yeah,
similar thing to that marketing pharmacy one that we're involved in. Once they've done a job, they can just call them up directly. But then it's the service you're offering and the process and how frictionless you can make it as well. Because like on that locum one, they're temporary once-off shifts. So if you need someone tomorrow, you don't have to call 6 people. It just gets pushed out. Someone will take it. I think
yeah,
they get jobs filled within like 17 seconds
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
So it's unavoidable. But in yours, it is a little bit more complicated, and it depends. I'm assuming on sort of labor laws are going to play into this, and how your agreements are structured between the organization and the contractor and yourself.
yeah.
And then you also have to factor in, all right, is it permanent? Are they and managing leave in between other people? Is it just I need a once off for a small campaign, or
Yeah.
permanent?
Yeah, look, there's so many nuances in there, and you know, we sort of we sort of took the lead. There's a law firm, and I'm now going to forget their name, but there's a law firm that operates a very similar model. So they basically go out and get all the jobs, and then they send those jobs through to their contract lawyers. And we saw that business model about a year ago, and I was like, well, that's it. That's how we have to operate, right? So essentially, what we do is, because of course, the other thing is we can't ask them to sign to us exclusively, because if they're a personal ABN, then you're beholden to all these labor laws, and it's technically they're an employee, and when they're not working, you have to pay them and holidays and blah blah blah, and that's just not sustainable. So it's not sustainable, because then we can't give the clients the choice. So but the law firm operated in a way that they were subcontracting the jobs down to another PTY Ltd. So to be part of that network, you had to be a PTY Ltd. At that point, the labour laws are different. It's one contract, it's one company subcontracting something to another company. They could then tell that company that you then need to be exclusive with us, right? And by exclusive, what they mean is to say, if we get you a job, that goes through us. If you get your own job, that goes through us. So even if that law firm wins their own client, they still put all of the administration, the payments, and the invoicing through the parent. It's not a parent company because they don't own them, but the
Yeah,
parent contractor.
the contractee, or however you want to word it.
Yeah. So we've got now what we've got sort of 10 exclusives within our network. And it's more at the moment a handshake and a, gentleman's agreement whilst we work out the logistics of that. But what we can do now with those exclusives, we can turn around to them and say, hey, we could put you on the back of a bus now if we wanted to, right?
Yep.
We could and what we are going to do is we could do a webinar and promote you in the webinar. We could do a lunch and learn and promote you at the lunch and learn. We can get you guest speaking slots. We can really promote you properly because you are effectively ours. And their condition then is that if they then get their own job, they still put that through our platform, but we take a much, much smaller commission when that happens versus the clients that we get. So that they then
'Cause
feel
you haven't
that's fair.
facilitated it.
Absolutely. They then feel that's fair to pay a smaller commission on the ones that they've got, because that still gives them the benefit of using our team how they want to use our team.
And you're promoting marketing for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then when any jobs come in, they often get the first stab at the job. If they fit the bill. So they see the benefit of that. And I think that's the model moving forward. Because the other challenge is if I've got somewhere that I want to promote or sponsor or have a guest speaker in Perth, I can't be there. I need to have somebody that I trust in Perth to turn up and be that representative of me. And short of starting a franchise or paying management fees to people, the best way to do it is just have a really good relationship with someone in Perth and say, look, you go and do this for us and we'll promote you. And I think that's our model moving forward, because it's scalable. It's that three-way win.
Yep.
And it just means that we get good people working closely with us.
Yeah, and it makes sense to have that relationship where you can use them as part of your marketing and promote them, and then they still get the benefit of being able to go out on their own if they have to.
Yeah.
But they've received the benefit of that marketing that you're doing, because you're pushing their name out, you're building their brand,
Yeah.
you're building reputation.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, we've played around with the idea of licensing, which is still sort of on the table. But again, we're trying to work this all out. One of the challenges, as you would know, when you build software and things like that, is that you can have all these ideas about what works and what doesn't work, but until you test it, you don't want to sit there and build all these features and benefits into a piece of software, and then you release the software and nobody uses it.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to understand how the business is going to work best, and then you build a piece of software to eliminate the problem, or make the problem easier, or whatever it is. So in the past, we made the mistake of going, we think this is how the market is going to operate, and build this fantastic piece of software that manages our business. And then we find that 20% of it gets used and 80% of it is completely dormant.
And it might work for you, but not the other two sets of stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, we went, let's build a nice login area for the the clients to log in, and you're like, clients don't fucking log in,
They just send an email saying, "Oh, I'm looking for someone."
It just or they just go, "Where's my invoice?" And we're like, "Oh, it's in your portal. Where's my portal?" I'm like, "Ah, fuck."
We've built a partner portal, and I think
bought
I'm the only one that's ever logged into it.
Yeah, we built this whole portal for you to log in and get your. They don't do it. So I think that's one of the big struggles of a business like this, is that clients are time poor and knowledge poor and enthusiasm poor, probably is the right word, for using your portal or your software or whatever, even though you're like, well, this is going to make everything so much easier.
Yeah, it's always hard to bring in a new tool and get people to use it.
Yeah.
Because people are already busy doing their own thing. Unless that's actually helping their day to day, I don't see generally how the transition is difficult.
Yeah.
Like this software that we're using now, Riverside, we have to use it because otherwise it's incredibly difficult to run this podcast.
Yeah, totally.
But I've got other software that we use and I may log into once a month because it's not a priority, but I should be doing it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also then something you have to remember to do, takes out of your workflow and changes things.
Well, it's the toothbrush rule, and I can't remember who had that rule. I think it was someone at Google or Facebook or Meta or something, was to say that you want an app or a piece of software to be used like a toothbrush. It's got to be used a minimum of 2 times a day for it to be of a value add to a customer. And if you can say, yeah, we're using it at least twice a day, then you go, okay, we've got something here.
Yep.
We know there's a lot of tools that we could build into the back end for the consultants. One of the things they consistently ask us for is, proposal documents and things like that. They're all still doing PowerPoints or Google Slides or whatever. And if we could build a template in the back end where we just go, hey, you just put your stuff in this template, you press send and the client gets it, So that's one of the things that we know, that if we did that, they would use it. But again, we've got to get that critical mass of people wanting to use that software before we build the software, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then talking to stakeholders, getting feedback and understanding what nuances they need to actually make it usable from day one is always key. As you mentioned, everyone builds things without and thinking that's the right thing. It's only once you release it that you learn that you should have spoken to some more people to get it right.
And look, there's an element of again, famous tech phrases, which is, move fast and break things. It's like, get something out there into the hands of people. And I think that was probably the thing for us with the whole business, was like, let's get something out there. Let's get something in front of the clients. Let's get a proposition and a brand, and then let's refine it down as we go.
Yeah.
And I probably have to say, COVID was the catalyst. We've had a couple of, both myself with a marriage breakdown in 2022, then my business partner with some challenges with, one of his family members. So we've had these kind of external, challenges that have either slowed down the business or made critical issues created a sort of an issue with the business. So we've got where we've got in 6 years, and I go, perhaps if we hadn't had those issues, maybe we would have done it in 4 years. But again, to your point earlier on, is that I actually think those two major personal incidences actually almost made us stop and think, and forced us to stop and think and go, are we doing the right thing here? I look back on it now and I go, yeah, it would have been a very, very different business if those things hadn't happened. And maybe not in the way that we would have wanted. So
You would have been running fast in the same direction.
yeah, look,
Yeah.
I mean, the first one almost put a handbrake on the business. We were tracking one of those, the old J curve that you see, it's like going in this direction, and we were sitting there going, I think we predicted if it carried on going, we were 12 months away from doing $1 million a month or something.
Oh, well.
But we were just like, that's not sustainable. We don't.
Yeah, it has to be sustainable. You've got to have a good operating business.
We were barely holding it together at something like $300,000 a month, which was what our peak was. And we were like, yeah, fuck, we can't do $1 million a month. We don't have the people. We don't have the infrastructure. The messaging
systems,
is
the
not clear
processes.
enough. We'll get to that side. We were hitting record months and then going, shit, we're running at 3% profit here. This is not.
Yep. It's the pains that everyone goes through to get from one level to the next, and you've got to go through those and then assess as you go. So before we wrap up, I just want to, you've been in marketing and you're building software and you've got clients in the marketplace. How has like AI affected sort of the marketplace you've seen with marketing? Because a lot of people, we've seen it in development, it can speed up development. Is there a big shift in sort of getting marketing? You can create content or plans with that easier now? And then has it helped anything else?
You absolutely can. Everything that you could do now, you're doing 5 times as fast, 10 times as fast if you're using the right tools. I use Claude every day. I do a lot of writing myself personally. I use it for, I'll give you an example. I'll probably take the transcript of this because I've got another tool listening to this.
Yep.
I'll take the transcript of this, give this to Claude and say, read this, tell me what blog content we could take out of this. I did this with the podcast the other week, and Claude came back and said, hey, I can identify 6 clear different blogs, each of 800 words.
Yep.
Here's the 6 titles. Do you want me to write one of them? And I was like, fuck yes. And it wrote it. And essentially when you read it, you go, that's me, because you can tell the nuances. Coming from the
transcript.
You can tell the nuance, and you can tell the nuances of the expressions and the way that I speak, right? You can see that in the blog, but it's expanded and, grown. So I think there is a transformation happening from a marketing perspective in using AI. That said, I get consultants coming to me going, hey, I'm an AI marketing specialist. I want to go out to the marketplace and tell people how I can transform their businesses with AI marketing. And I genuinely said this to somebody on Monday. He said, how many people are asking for that? And I said, absolutely none. And he was like,
I can believe that.
Why is that? I said, because they come to us for the old classic problem where they are sitting there going, my business is not growing fast enough. I need to know why. Now, AI might be a solution to that, but it's not the core of the problem. So the core problem in marketing for most companies is we're not growing quickly enough. We're not growing in the right market. We've got a new product that we need to launch. Those are the challenges. right? Or we're spending too much money on the marketing and not getting the results. Those are the common. There's 5 or 6 core problems that most businesses fit into, right? AI can be a solution to streamline and solve some of those problems, but it's not the be all and end all of solving the problem, and it's not a problem in itself.
And if you're selling just doing AI marketing, a person could do that themselves
I mean,
to
yes,
a
they all.
degree.
Yeah, look, they all try, and the thing we find at the moment is it's like the good example was when Zero was released. So that was probably was probably 10 years now, right? Before before Zero came out, if you and I tried to do our monthly reconciliations on the shitty piece of MyOb software or whatever it was back then, and MyOb's
Painful.
1,000 times better. It not only was it painful, but it was hard to understand unless you'd had a basis of finance training or something like that. You'd look at it and just go, what the fuck am I doing here? And then Zero came out, and all of a sudden you could reconcile your own bank accounts. You could change codes on, things, and
Yeah,
you
accounts
could
and
pull up
ledgers.
a P&L report yourself. What Zero did 10 years ago is what AI is doing now. You still need a bookkeeper, right? You still need an accountant, but bookkeepers and accountants can work quicker and with more clients and more efficiency, right? People will still need a marketing person, whether that's a senior person or that's a content marketer or that's a digital whatever. They're still going to need that. But the person that they get can work so much more efficiently using these AI tools
agree.
so they can get better output and faster output, and they're getting a better bang for their buck. So it doesn't necessarily revolutionize how things work. You still need a marketing person. You still need a bookkeeper. You still need a software developer.
Yeah, you
And
can't
to
do
your point,
everything.
well, yeah, and to your point, and I'd imagine you said this, I think, right at the start, was that what my business partner now can build in the back end for our software is taking him a tenth of the time
Yep.
that it was taking him a year ago or 18 months ago, because Claude Cowork is writing everything for him and he's then just checking it and all that sort of stuff. So, he used to sort of complain to me 2 years ago, I need another dev, or, I could get so much done if I had a little team of devs or something like that. He hasn't, and I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast. But he hasn't said that to me, Anthony, now for about 6 months. So I'm just
Yeah,
shutting up.
because he probably can't keep up with how much he can create at the moment. Because now
Quite
he's the
possibly.
bottleneck. Yeah, he's the bottleneck in reviewing stuff now, and that's
Well,
what we've seen. But
he's the
again, yeah,
bottleneck now because this is the interesting challenge. It'd be interesting if you see the same thing as well. He can create so much, he doesn't know what to do next.
yep,
And then you need to sit there and go, no, 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 no. We need to now have a clear structure. Because if you were building a piece of software, Anthony, it might take, a team 30 days to do it or something like that. And you'd have the whole sprints and everything, but you'd be doing one thing. Now he's sitting there going, well, I can do 10 things. What do I do next?
yeah, it still comes down to the planning. But we mentioned like you can get the marketers to do it, or people can do it. A business isn't going to do it themselves because they still need someone to help drive it, and that's why you need someone to come in. You can't wear every hat and do everything at once. And then even if you are using these tools, you're not going to become an expert in marketing to understand
Yeah.
everything it's telling you and how to do it. And that's the same
Yeah.
with programming. Everyone can program now. It doesn't mean you can make an app that's viable, secure, and it's going to actually do something well. Little prototypes and small internal apps that no one uses, everyone can do that, and that's amazing
Yep.
because that's like everyone trying to use Excel. Some people know how to use formulas, some people know how to use it properly.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I keep seeing videos of the Excel World Championships and things like that. I'm like,
I didn't even know Excel could do all the things that they do.
it's insane. It's insane. It's insane that there's a World Championships in Excel, and it's insane the fact that there are people that actually put themselves forward for that kind of thing.
Yep.
It's very bizarre. But yeah, look, the whole AI thing has, to me, streamlined stuff. I still will put anything Claude produces for me from an AI marketing plan is based on my input and Claude going, Okay. So like, for example, if I do a marketing plan with someone, I'll scribble it on a piece of A3 paper and I'll draw lots of circles the way my brain works, and I'll draw
Yep.
lines and more circles, and then I'll take this picture, which to an untrained eye looks like absolute gibberish. I understand it, and then I give it to Claude, and Claude goes, "Bang! I get
Yeah,
this,"
and
and
he can understand it, and that's what's important.
and then he pads it out, and then I read it, and I go, "Okay, yeah, well, he's 95% of the way there. He still hallucinates in certain areas, So you have to fix those bits, but the turnaround time is so much better. I tell you what, job ads. One of the things I used to hate doing, because from a marketing background, was writing job
Yeah.
ads. I find that the worst. But again, I have a conversation with the client. We sit here for 30 minutes. We talk about their business. I give that to Claude. Claude turns that into a job ad. Send it to the client. Client signs it off. We can do that in a couple of hours.
Yep. And that would have been days or weeks with back and
Days or
forth and
weeks.
turn around. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
yep.
Absolutely.
The best way to explain how AI helps everyone is carpenters used to use hammers, they now use nail guns. Same job, you can just do it
Yep.
a lot faster.
Yep.
Didn't get rid of the
Absolutely.
carpenter.
That's a perfect analogy. Yeah. Maybe in the future there'll be robots that are robots
Robot carpenters.
robots with nail guns, which is a disturbing thought, but maybe that's
It
the way.
can be, but yeah, that's the equivalent. It lets you do the job just much
Yeah.
faster. You still have to review, you still have to plan, you still have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you still have to know where the nail's got to go at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, this has been a great chat. If anyone wants to find out more about yourself or Cemoh, how can they do that?
Yeah, Cemoh.com. That's CMOH.com is the website. Probably the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. There are a couple of other Simon Dells out there. I have actually met another Simon Dell, which was
Okay.
bizarrely the client that I talked to that sort of launched this whole. I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but the client that technically launched our business for us. She separated from her husband and she started dating another Simon Dell. So she has to be really careful which one she's texting and what she's texting.
Oh, definitely.
But I met him and I got a photo of me and him standing next to it. It was a very strange moment. But yeah, look, LinkedIn, come and find me on LinkedIn. I'm quite prolific there arguing with people. That's generally what I do on LinkedIn. So
I will add those links and notes about yourself into the show notes. Simon, again, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for your time today.
no, mate, thank you. It's been a pleasure as well. I really appreciate you having me on. So thank you very much.
Thanks.